Can I do that? Then when I come back, can I get food?
We just got home from a very long vacation, at least a long vacation for us. This is probably the longest vacation I've had since being married and with kids, and that's because we kind of did a two-part vacation. We spent a few days in Kentucky, and we went to the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter, and then we went to Williamsburg, Virginia, and spent time there doing the historical triangle. So I have some clips of our vacation. I'll talk more about that a little bit later, but today I have a lot to do. We got home yesterday late evening and I didn't really do much. We did the whole drive in one day, and so we were very tired. I unpacked a little bit, not everything, most things. I'll be having more to unpack today. And we vacuumed out the car because there was lots of eating in the car, so it was a complete mess. But after that, we pretty much went to bed. And so that means today I have a lot to do. When I am gone and the kitchen is shut down, so many things are needing to be tended to now that we are home. First line of business was obviously serving breakfast, and thankfully my sister and brother-in-law, they came by every day while we were gone to keep an eye on our animals here at the house. And on the day before we got home was our normal pickup day for our milk, and they picked it up for us and had it in the refrigerator. They also brought us over a bunch of eggs, so we had everything we needed to make up some waffles this morning for breakfast. After doing the dishes, I ran out of my dish soap here, so I'm making some more. This recipe is on my blog, so I'll link it for you guys down below. It's super simple to make, and I end up using this as basically like a countertop spray, like all-purpose spray, as well as when I'm doing my dishes. If you are someone that likes to use a dishwasher, I also have a natural dishwashing pod recipe on my blog. All of these can be found at ourearlyhouse.com, and I have a search bar at the top of my blog that you can type in whatever it is that you are looking for. But I really do strive to make all of my own homemade soaps and skincare and things, and so all of those recipes are on my blog. Before heading back into the kitchen, I am doing a little bit more unpacking. One thing that I always strive to do when we go on a vacation is finding a Airbnb or condo, wherever we're staying, with a washer and dryer, and so I can pack very lightly and I can come home with all clean clothes, so I don't have a bunch of laundry when I get home. And it also makes unpacking super easy because I just have to put everything back away. It's already all washed and folded. I did almost all of the kids' clothes last night, but I did not get into my husband and I's stuff, mainly because my baby still sleeps in our room and he was sleeping shortly after we got home. I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Gym. If you guys have been around my channel, you've heard me talk about Gym before. I've been taking the Gym Bite Daily Multi for several months, and I absolutely love it, and I think that you guys would love it too. 90% of Americans are nutrient deficient. Even when we eat healthy food, it's difficult to get all the nutrients we need from diet alone. Because of pollution and poor soil, our soil is just not the way that it used to be. Jim fills the gaps in your daily diet with real whole food source nutrients, and the ingredients work together to absorb better in your body. Jim is packed with over 20 different vitamins and minerals, superfoods, prebiotics, and probiotics with real ingredients like turmeric, vitamin D3, zinc, ginger, lemon, and orange. All the ingredients in the Jim Bite Daily Multi can help improve energy and mood, hair, skin, nails, brain and bone health, immunity, and it can even help with digestion. The other thing that I love about Jim is that it's absolutely delicious. They've worked with a pastry chef to make sure every bite is delicious as it is nutritious. It's soft, chewy, tangy, and just sweet enough, and it's something that I absolutely enjoy. I look forward to taking it every single day. Right now, Jim is offering 50% off your first month. You can go to dailygym.com/ouroilyhouse and be sure to use my code ouroilyhouse at checkout. Today I'm going to focus on reviving all of my plants and all of my ferments. I have lots of things to do in the kitchen. I'm going to be getting some yogurt going. I'm also going to be getting some bread going. I have to feed my sourdough starter. It's been sitting in the fridge, close to 2 weeks, and you can see that it definitely needs to be fed. That black film on top is telling me that it's hungry, but it's totally fine. It's not anything wrong with it. So I'm getting that fed because I'm going to be making some bread later on today. I'm also going to be getting my water kefir back into some sugar water to get that going and fermenting. Just all the things that get neglected whenever we're gone. I definitely enjoy vacation and the break and being able to spend time with my family and just not making like super elaborate meals, but I love getting home and getting the kitchen back in order. I always do like to find a place that has a kitchen along with a washer and dryer. Those are kind of like my two staples when I travel. And with a kitchen, I do like to do a lot of cooking. We do go out to eat, obviously, too, some. We were right on the coast, so we had to go get seafood. But I do a lot of my cooking in the kitchen. But when we get home, it's so nice to get back into all of our ferments. It just makes everyone feel their best when we're getting healthy probiotics into our diet. And so my favorite way to do that is with sourdough, yogurt, water kefir, and sauerkraut. At the beginning of every week, I always like to bring up a bunch of meat from my deep freezer, and this is my way of meal prepping. I don't always have a whole plan of how I'm gonna meal prep, but as long as I have defrosted meat in the refrigerator, it makes it easy to come up with meals each day. So since we just got home, I don't have any defrosted meat for lunch today, so I'm doing something with ground meat because that always is an easy thing to do from frozen. So I'm making a shepherd's pie. I'm using mousse for this, but you could use ground turkey or beef or whatever you have on hand. And then I brought up a bunch of meat so that we can get back to normal cooking this week. Before we left, I pretty much had the fridge empty of all perishable things. And so It was kind of a struggle to think like, okay, what am I going to make today for lunch? And like I said, so thankful we had milk and eggs. And then I did have a bunch of potatoes down in the drawer there. And so I knew that I could use that. And then with having meat in bulk, there's always plenty of that to go around. And we had some frozen vegetables. I don't have any fresh produce, but I am going to restock today and head to the grocery store later on. You saw the time there. It's only 9:30 and I am already starting lunch. That's because I have to run the kids to their activities today, and I'm also going to be running some errands, and so I'm trying to get lunch made before we leave because I'll be getting home right at lunchtime and nap time. And so on days like this, I usually cook lunch before we leave, so it's a little bit earlier than normal. I definitely need everyone to get some rest this afternoon. One, everyone's so tired because of vacation, and also just because I have lots of things that need to get done during our afternoon nap time and quiet time. Also on my blog, I have recipes for all of the different fermented things I was talking about. My yogurt, my water kefir, sauerkraut, sourdough, all of those things. And so you can get those with the link down in my description box or by going to my blog, ouroilyhouse.com. While I was out running the kids to their activities, I did run by the grocery store. I didn't need a lot of things, but I did want to restock on some fresh produce. And I also had to grab some plain yogurt. I didn't have any yogurt for a starter to make the new batch of yogurt that I'm making, so I grabbed some of that. So pretty much just some produce and some yogurt to restock and have some fresh things for the week. After lunch, I am finishing up my yogurt, and I'm going to let that ferment for about 24 hours. And then I'm going to get started on some sourdough bread. I'm not making that for anything in particular. It's just typically every week I usually make a loaf or two of bread just to have on hand for different recipes or for an easy meal. And since we just got home from vacation, I thought I would get that started. I fed my starter this morning, and so it's nice and active and already bubbly this afternoon to make bread. And you can see how quickly the sourdough comes back to life. It already rised quite a bit just from feeding it a few hours earlier. I went outside to water all of the plants, and when I went to water my fern, I saw that a bird had laid some eggs in there, and so I decided not to water it because I didn't want to disturb this lovely little eggs in this nest. So I'm going to hang that back up. Most likely that plant will die before the birds hatch, but I don't care. I don't really want to disturb them. So anyway, went around and did water all of my flowers, and it was so exciting to see all the different things that grew and came into bloom while we were gone, just being gone for, almost 2 weeks. Everything had just gotten so much bigger and prettier, and our peonies were about ready to pop out. So it was super fun to go around and see all of the things that bloomed while we were gone. Now, also, while we were gone, there was a big windstorm, and one of my ferns that were hanging up fell down, and so the basket broke, and so I decided to just plant that out in one of the gardens to let it continue growing out there. We all could not believe how big our little chicks got while we were gone. It looked as if they had like quadrupled in size. It was really exciting when we got home and saw them, and so they are now big enough to be able to come outside of their coop a little bit and enjoy this nice weather. We won't let them free range quite yet, but they are big enough to come into the outside run of their coop. With all the new blooms outside, of course, I had to get a new flower arrangement on the table. And then I'm going back to tend to my sourdough. Every 30 minutes, I'm just giving it a little stretch and fold. And then I will let this ferment on the counter overnight and get back to this tomorrow. While we were gone, I mentioned that everything bloomed and spring is in full effect here, and with that is a lot of pollen. I came out into our sunroom and it had a coating of pollen, just like yellow everywhere. Everything, the cushions, the floor, you can see as I'm like sweeping it up how much pollen. Thankfully I do not have seasonal allergies, so this didn't affect me, but I didn't want the kids to track all of this back into the house, and so I knew right away I needed to get this room cleaned up and swept and wiped down. As promised, here are a few clips from our trip. We had so much fun. If you've never been to the Creation Museum or Ark Encounter, I highly recommend it. It was so impressive. And the same with Williamsburg and visiting the historical triangle. We went to Yorktown, Jamestown, and Colonial Williamsburg, and the kids learned so much. It was so hands-on, and they were allowed to touch and explore and really get in and learn history. We also spent a lot of time at York Beach. I think that was definitely a highlight of the trip, and so highly recommend this area. It was such a fun vacation for our family. Thank you so much for watching today's video.